your big Hollywood sunglasses and light the torch, because it's cellar time. Welcome to the Crack Cellar, as the prophecy was once foretold. I'm Two-Spirit Penguin Daniel.
And I have brooded all the cats, and I've acquired every nickel. You can't tread on me. God bless America.
That's right. That's right. And man, it's been a tough week for Japan, Broadcaster Nickels. Tough week for Hideo Kojima as well. Did you hear that when
I feel like that was fake. I feel like that was just like somebody trolling. There's no way. It didn't look like him. There's no
base, our former arch, as NPR would describe him, divisive arc conservative Shinzo Abe. Did you see that? I laughed my ass off when I read that. They called him an arch conservative, like he's some fucking super villain. Like the day he died, it's like Jesus fucking Christ. But in Greece, there might be some people that might be full of Asian hate because, or at least they really hate Metal Gear Solid over there in Greece because. When they showed the picture of the assassin, they showed a picture of Hideo Kojima.
I just feel like that was like it's the only thing that my brain reasons right now is like, there's no way they saw that dude, and then they saw Hideo, and they were like, "That's him."
Bro, have you seen the screen capture of it?
Yeah,
he's wearing like
the red star fucking winter hat or whatever. I don't even know what the proper name for it is, but that iconic Russian red star hat. Dude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't live in Greece, so I can't 100% confirm it, but apparently it's true. And boy, oh boy.
If I was Hideo, I would have ran with that, but he is Japanese, so he probably has some honor. He's not memeing the late Abe.
Nah, I think Kojima is probably a fan of based Abe. I don't think he's
probably legitimately worried. Yeah. Dude, if I was Japanese, I'd probably be a little worried. I mean, that has to be kind of one of those like moments when you as a country you start to realize you're losing cabin pressure. Mm-hmm. Like, because Japan's so strict with its firearms and knives and, like I said, off recording. And it's just kind of one of those things to see an assassination in this modern day when take all of what I just said. And then on top of the fact that the current prime minister is one of the most hated prime ministers in Japanese history.
Yep.
And he wasn't the one to get assassinated. Abe was a beloved prime minister.
Yeah. That's what cracked me up when they called him divisive. He's like the most popular prime minister in the history of the damn country.
It's because he was on Team Trump is why. That's why they said that, because they were just like, well, we can't say anything really good about somebody that was on Trump's team. So
all of his victories were like landslide victories. Like,
it's
dude. Just crazy.
That's because Japan's based for the most part.
Oh man, it's just crazy.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how like Japan as a culture shifts, because one of the main reasons why the guy shot Shinzo is because he wanted to expand the military.
Yeah.
And he had enough, I guess, belief that was the wrong idea to go fucking assassinate a sitting prime minister.
Well, it sounds really weird too. Like the guy who confessed says he did it because his mom got foreclosed. It's like the most weird non sequitur reason group ever.
Yeah, it's really weird too, because when I was reading like the comment section of certain videos covering it, I was almost getting like the Twitter bot feeling because there was like numerous commenters in the comment section that were like pretty much copy and pasting that sentence. I can't quote it verbatim, but it was essentially like the killer professed that he did this because a secret cult or something like that, a secretive group who the leader cannot be found is doing something or did something to his mother. And it was like 6 different commenters that worded it just like that. Like it was the same exact comment with like a little bit of a unique beginning on it. But it's like when you see bots on Twitter using the trending term, you know, they'll just copy and paste the trending term in their little paragraph tweet or whatever. You know, it's a bot just because it used that term.
Yeah.
It's like that. I don't know. I'm not on social media enough to really articulate what I said too well, but
yeah. Yep.
You get a real feel. Like I've been on long enough to get the fake feeling, you know, when you're just like, that's clearly not a human being.
Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. Although I'm not really on social media anymore either. I still have a Facebook, but all I really use it for is to keep up with metal bands that probably shouldn't exist anymore.
Like ISIS.
Well, actually, that's how I know Darkane is coming back with a new album. Thank you, Facebook.
I hope that, dude. We need to keep Darkane alive, dude.
I know
those guitar riffs slap even in today's age. That was the first thing I noticed when I heard that new song. I was like, holy shit, these guys still rip.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely no Opeth Sorceress going on here. This is
fuck no.
This is Darkane still. Although that vocalist, man, I don't know what's
age,
going
dude.
on with him. God, is it really age?
It's the most susceptible instrument to age, man.
Yeah.
Especially metal vocalists. They're the harshest on
You
their
remember that
on
happened to Speed from Soilwork back in like
20 and he completely changed and became gay.
Yeah, but then he bounced back a little bit.
No, he didn't.
Oh, dude, his vocals in Living Infinite were really good.
I think that was him just finding a happy medium ground one time.
You might be right, because his vocals in the newer stuff again is starting to get bad. So you might be right. It might have been
he's continuously drawn back the heavy vocals in replacement with the clean vocals and the auto-tune vocals. I think that's what really fucking killed him. Is the first time when he first started to go away from metal vocals, he started using auto-tune on like Scorn to a Great Divide, and that really destroyed the perception of his like badass vocal vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tried stepping back a little bit on the next 2 albums, but still pretty much 80% clean. And like most of it was it wasn't auto-tuned as much as Sworn to Great Divide, but it was he was trying to get away with saying he wasn't doing it, but he was definitely turning it up to 10% or so. Because you could tell every time you went to a live concert, he sucked.
Yeah.
He was not a live performer for like the last 6-7 years, I'd say. Like, where I was just like, damn, dude, I enjoy coming out, but I'm like, you suck live, dude. You clearly don't prepare, and you clearly like you lost your talent. Like, you're not able to do what you did when you were younger.
True, but during those times when he wasn't at his best, he was still drinking at the bar at fucking.
I think that was his problem. I think he was just one of those bros, he just didn't want to give up the life he enjoyed. What's
the name of that dive that we always saw Soilwork at?
El Corazon.
El Corazon. Dude, there's something magical about that place that you can just like be sitting at the bar and then just Speed just shows up and starts signing $1 bills. You're just like, what is this place? What is this sorcery going on here?
Dude, fuck that. That's like bottom of the list, dude. I still remember while we were at a Soilwork concert, World Dane came in and fucking pitted with us. And he was like
crazy.
And he was trying to tell us, he was a prophet, dude. He was trying to tell us Speed sucked years in advance. He's just like, that's spoiled meat up there, guys. Not Soilwork, spoiled meat. That's like, damn, your breath reeks, dude, but you're fucking World Dane, dude. This is dope as fuck right now.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, dude. I'll never forget that moment. That is probably going to go down as one of my favorite concert moments ever, because I just got a fucking pit with World Dane out of nowhere. And we had this cool moment. We like locked eyes, and I was like, "Fucking Warrell Dane," and he just put his arms around me, and he's like, "They're chanting soil work, but really they're chanting spoiled meats." It's just like, it's the greatest moment you could ask for.
Yeah, for such a shitty dive, that place does hold like some of my greatest memories of like really my life, but specifically music based. Like I've been to concerts at like probably 15 different venues, 20 different venues, and for some reason all the special shit happens at El Corazon, even though the place is a hole in the wall.
Yeah, well, that place is. I mean, when we were going there, it was pretty alright, but they got really crazy after the bad thing happened.
The bad. Show me on the doll where COVID touched you. Yeah.
They like closed off half the establishment and didn't let people walk into the bar anymore.
You must wear a mask to mosh. No moshing without masking, bro.
That was the other funny thing, dude, is like El Corazon is like known to be one of those places that like totally overpacks the place. And they're like crazy stickler about masks, even though they like immediately when you go into the room, you're like elbow to elbow with sweating dudes. Mm-hmm. It's like, what the fuck are you trying to protect right now?
Yeah, definitely.
You guys are closed or you're open. That's it.
Did you ever check out the band Lorna Shore? I know I've sent you something from them.
A couple times. I'm not really into it.
Really? It's like the only recent metal band I've heard that I've actually thought was any good.
I'm not really into too much modern metal.
I know. Well, that's my point. Kind of is like that seems to be the outlier for me. Like I'm not a huge fan of like what do you call those vocals? Like the deicide style, like sort of doom metal vocals.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could put it like it's like doom metal.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that style, but I don't know. They got something going on.
I feel like metal has not. It just hasn't gone through the evolutions that all other surviving genres have gone through. You know, like if you look at the hip hop or rap scene, it's gone through so many generations of styles. And I'm not saying metal hasn't had its styles and generations, but it seems like now, presently, metal has plateaued into this, like, we're just going to copy what everything that's been done before type of thing. There's no new moment like there was for rap when rap started doing samples or started doing remixes, of like famous other genre tracks and shit like that. There isn't like...
I would love that if like some of the old school like Gothenburg bands just started doing remix albums going back. Can you imagine if Soilwork went back and like redid Predator's Portrait or something? Just like that would be wild as fuck.
For sure. Well, they could also do collabs with other other genres, like I'm a huge fan of like synth wave and dark synth and like Outrun and stuff like that. And like dark synth it's just poised for a collaboration, dude, with heavy metal in the metal scene. Like, because it's drawing from like 1980s, like emo type Depeche Mode weird beats, mixing it with like the more poppy synthwave vibes, and then putting like kind of like morbid vocals and themes over it, like metal. And it's like the next evolution for that, I figure, would be like doing a remix of a metal song or vice versa, And it's just like that's just coming off the top of my head. I'm not saying like that even would be a great idea at the end of the day when it is actually done. I'm just throwing ideas out there and just in representation of the fact that nothing is going on with the metal scene. I just feel like 12 Foot Ninja is a somewhat modernish band I like. They're an Australian heavy metal band, and they just released an album like I think it seems like almost a half a year now. It's probably been out for about 6 months or so, maybe. And it's good, but like it took. I think I waited for that album for like 3 years, and that's the only band. There's like Darkane's coming out with a new band or album here soon. Again, it's just like it's so far and few between. I'm actually interested in what metal's putting out.
I could have swore Darkane broke up. Like I remember,
I think they did. I'm pretty sure this is a reformation or something.
Yeah, because I swear, like back in like 2018, like 5-ish years ago, I swear I read an article saying that Darkane was calling it quits for good. And I wasn't expecting shit. Then all of a sudden I get on Facebook randomly and it's like, hey guys, we're releasing our new album next month. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like what about like Scar Symmetry? Like when did they release fucking part 1 of the fucking what was that called? Space metal.
I just call it space metal, but I mean,
like
space.
They literally labeled it part 1 5 years ago.
That was more than 5 years ago, I think, wasn't it? Like, wasn't that like 8 years ago?
I don't know, dude.
I think it was, insane. Man. I think it was back like 2015 when that came out. It was a long fucking time ago. But it was that is supposedly still coming, Space Metal Part 2.
Yeah.
So we could get a Scar Symmetry and a new Darkane album and a new Soilwork album all out around the same time, which is kind of nuts.
I really don't care about music. I literally, the Soilwork's just kind of dead to me.
It's not that bad, man. Did you hear the new single? You didn't. It wasn't terrible. It was all right.
It wasn't terrible, but it's pretty much just an auxiliary of his other band now. It's like Soilwork has literally morphed into like
Night Flight Orchestra,
but a little heavier instead of the other way around.
Yeah, but the thing that I respect is that they're not dumbing down musically in terms of complexity. Like there's a double solo in that single they released.
They're doing what they want to do. It's just not my shit.
Right. I mean, I think with metal in general, my biggest gripe nowadays is with vocals across the board. Like even the bands I do like, I just have problems with the vocals. We were just talking about Darkane. That musically, that single they released is fucking phenomenal. Yeah. But then the vocals, I'm just kind of like, it's like, it's not bad, but it's like, I want more. Like I think about all the legendary, like, Angela from what was that her name? The chick from Arch Enemy, the original chick, not the new one. Angela Gassow, right? That was her name.
Angela Gassow is,
or is that the new one?
That's the chick that got pregnant. That's the one.
The original chick. Yeah. Dude, like her vocals on fucking Wages of Sin, I think are some of the strongest vocals I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, there's just like this.
That whole style of vocals, though, was like, it was unsustainable, and I think that's kind of what's ruined metal genre for me a little bit. You know, like I grew up in a metal age,
the golden era, dude.
It was a golden era, but it was also very unsustainable. Like they were doing GG mode, you know, like they were going hard in the paint. And all of them burnt out, you know.
Well, then the eclipse happened, and Angela got gang raped by some demons.
All of them, dude. Like think about Jesse Leach, you know, from Killswitch. He straight like bowed out and had another vocalist come in, and then after years he came back, and like I was pumped as soon as I heard the name. I was like, we're back, baby. And as soon as he started singing, it was good. Don't get me wrong. He's there still, but it's just not the same. And at the end of the day, when you really think about it, you're just like, this is a young man. Like that style of vocals is not sustainable. It's a young man's game, and you just do it while you do it. And it sucks, but nowadays people don't even want to try. Like, it's not even like a practice style anymore, you know, to like have like grizzly, like not super fast, but like I don't even know what style to call it. It's not like speed metal. It's not hardcore, you know. It's not black metal. It's kind of just like, it's like a Gothenburg style almost, you know. It's very medium, rawish vocals with, you know, a decent amount of speed behind it.
Yeah,
but it carved out a very unique niche, and it wasn't unique to one region of metal either. Like again, Killswitch Engage, an American metal band, had it going on. Soilwork, a Gotham Swedish band. Fucking
Yeah,
had it
I
going
think
on.
like what you're talking about, I think it really peaked with like Chain Heart Machine. Like that was like really where that
It's one of the
vocal
greatest metal
style
albums of all time.
indeed it is. And like I think that album really, like if you had to show like an example of what you're talking about right now, I think that's probably, the number one examples. It just and Kill Switch, it has a version of it. Lots of bands had a version of it. But that, I think you're right. I don't think that vocal style is sustainable, and I think history has basically proven that because no one's doing it anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, for good reason. I mean, all these people are still alive, so they're like they're good examples. People grow up with these people, and then they see that they're not like anything like they used to be. And people that want to get into that industry, they're like, well, I can't do that to myself. I can't fucking, they're like, I don't want people to think about how I think about that guy now. So I got to do something that's sustainable. I got to do something. I got to get famous for something I'll be able to do in my 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Indeed. Man.
So it's a smart reason. Like I totally understand why it went that way, but yeah, it's sad.
It is
a sad thing. You're never going to get Wages of Sin anymore. You're never going to get, Chain Heart Machine or Predator's Portrait or even like,
we can't even get any
In
like
Flames,
just
like
Shadows Fall. Where's Shadows Fall?
Dude, I sometimes, honestly, such a meme-ish band now.
I know,
but like
they were a meme even back in the day. Like I remember, like people would meme on them hard.
Dude, when the Light That Binds comes on though, dude, I fucking the flip switches, dude. I'm fucking like, ooh, like,
dude. I don't know if it was their first album or their second album that popped that has all like the hits that everyone knows. But whatever album that was a great fucking album.
I think it's like called Shadow Wars or something like that. It's really good. God, that man.
Yeah, it's brutal. Everything that we love is dying slowly, Broadcaster, including Kazuki Takahashi. Not to bring it back to Japan, but I'm going to bring it back to Japan. The creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! Has died, Broadcaster Nickels. Around the same time as Based Abe, so that's kind of sad. But I find his death a little bit, I don't want to say more interesting, but he died diving. They found his body in, snorkeling gear in the ocean. And as soon as I read it, I immediately thought of Weeble throwing Exodia in the ocean from the ocean liner in like the second episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, damn,
calm yourself down.
He was searching for Exodia, man. He died searching for Exodia.
Fuck, dude.
Too soon?
That is not the heart of the cards attitude, dude. All right. That's not.
All right, Broadcaster. We have a.
Let's not forget. Hold on. There's one more thing Japanese related.
Okay.
Fucking that fucking absolute Chad of an individual. I don't know his name, but the guy that did Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, who's banging the Sailor Moon creator. It's made for life. He's probably parked his Ferrari right next to Oda Senpai for fucking One Piece, dude. They probably look at each other in the eyes before they whip their Lamborghinis out of the driveway every morning. They're just like, sup.
Yeah, him and Oda are neighbors. I can see that.
Fucking, he's like, Oda, you see my hot wife? That's pretty much what's going on every day. But he made a tweet. This guy, keep in mind, everyone's like, bruh, don't fucking talk to me until you're saying you're going to write another chapter if you goddamn Hunter x Hunter, dude. And he makes this tweet, and it's pretty much like a "you should feel bad for me" tweet type of thing. Like, fucking, hey, I know everyone's probably wondering where I've been. I just want to say, like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And as I'm saying this, you're probably like, I don't give a fuck. Just make another chapter of Hunter x Hunter. But the truth is, I haven't been able to wipe my own ass for a few months because I've had extreme lower back pain.
Oh.
And then he goes on like a little tiny rant where he's just like, yeah, take care of your back, kids. And then like a week later, he fucking just mysteriously posts a picture of the last chapter of Hunter x Hunter being drawn. He's like, I'm on it, by the way, guys, don't worry. It's like, this guy's a Chad, dude. He's like, I don't have to fucking work. Fuck you guys. Me and Oda are fucking doing blow off each other's wives every night, dude. It's like, what the fuck do you even get away from me?
Yeah, that guy, man. Hunter x Hunter is really a interesting anime, isn't it? It's just,
dude, it has one of the craziest like mangaka journeys of all time.
Yeah, man.
Like
It's
if you don't read manga that much, but there's like a huge chunk of the Hunter x Hunter manga that is, it goes from beautiful, like, where are you at in the Hunter x Hunter, by the way?
I mean, you know me, I only watch anime, so I'm exactly where the anime ended.
Okay, so you're past the ants and all that. The ant.
Oh yeah, the last thing I saw was Gon turning into an adult and his hair going up to the moon, which was pretty tight. Yeah. I have to say that's one of those things that's Hunter x Hunter unique. Like, it does shit like that where you're just like, well, that's not something you see every day.
Oh yeah, that was a really cool moment. But the beginning of that whole arc, where the ant, like, this is before the king is born, like that queen and all the proto ants.
Oh, it was so. Speaking of metal, that arc, the ant arc, was so metal.
Yeah, dude. If you read the manga, that whole arc got lost. So supposedly this motherfucker was walking to work with all of his artwork in a briefcase one day in a rainy storm, and the briefcase opened up and fucking all of it fell into a puddle, and he like had to rush to fucking finish it in time. So like that whole arc in the manga is just scribble art. It's like draft scribble art. And it's very abrupt. Like, it goes from like beautiful art, and then for the next like several chapters, and I mean a lot of chapters, it's like just this really shitty scribble art. It was so bad when I was reading it that I thought I got a bad download. I thought I got some fan manga chapters or something. I was like, what's going on? And then I look into it. It's just like, this guy's a joke, dude. He gets high before he goes to work every fucking day, dude. He barely fucking draws, dude. And then he's going to make some fucking tweet for the first time in 3 years on Twitter. He's just like, sorry, guys, my lower back. I can't wipe my ass. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Guy's a legend.
He is a legend. I respect him. He's just like, I got some Sailor Moon to go get. Peace. Anyways,
oh shit.
That's the last news I have out of Japan.
Well, the island of Japan is dark and full of terrors.
Yeah, dude.
So is space, apparently, and we have a little Dead Space ish game to preview, Broadcaster. You ready to do this Callisto Protocol?
Oh yeah.
Alright.
You know it's by the Dead Space guy, right?
No, I did not know that. But now I do.
This is the guy that founded Sledgehammer Studios.
I've never seen it. I've never even heard of this game before. I've never seen a clip. I've never seen a video. I know nothing about it, so I'm going totally blind into this trailer.
Yeah, this has quite the build. This, like, they first revealed this like 3 E3s ago.
Wow.
And, it was like a teaser trailer with it was like some Evangelion shit with like a bleached white-haired girl like standing on the moon next to like almost like a Hideo Kojima looking astronaut, dude.
The guy who assassinated Abe.
And then the fucking sunblind on the helmet came up, and it was Shinzo Abe.
Papa Abe is so sorry.
And he flips a Doge going in low gravity to the girl.
Now that's an NFT I can get behind.
Totally, dude. Haunted Moon of Jupiter. I think that was Jupiter. Definitely Jupiter. Or Mars. That might be Mars. You think it's Mars with some clouds?
Yeah, terraformed Mars, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, a panopticon, dude.
Take a look.
Damn,
outside.
dude. I remember I found out what a
you know
panopticon was when I was like 17. I was like, this is metal as fuck.
Dead.
Oh.
Just like you would have been if I hadn't fished you out of that wreck.
I like the narration. Good voice
Whatever
acting.
you're holding on to right there.
Yeah.
That's your old life. You gotta let that go.
I like this voice acting.
Your new life
Damn, dude.
entirely.
T2000's bodying inmates. He ain't having any of this zombie bullshit.
Give you a chance. At rebirth.
Not too impressed with the zombies. It's very typical. Definitely Dead Space. Not surprised the guy that made Dead Space. Like the scares though. Like
shit.
yeah. Definitely, you can definitely tell he's bringing the energy of Dead Space 1.
Yes.
I just love that last part.
Whoa.
Oh. What?
Oh shit.
Gives me chills every time.
Okay, so we're gonna have some like gateway to hell type shit going on.
Yeah.
Oh, that iconic deep breathing. Dude, I love Dead Space so much. That was one of those games. It was one of my first platinum games on my PS3.
Dude.
Oh,
Oh my god. Bruh. Holy shit.
hell.
Welcome to your new home.
Okay, I am so in on this game. That was
Yeah.
badass as fuck.
The narrator kind of gave me Dead Space 2 vibes. Did you ever play Dead Space 2?
No, I only played the original.
If I'm not mistaken, it might be the same voice actor. I'm not sure, but
Huh.
there's like the beginning of Dead Space 2's intro. It's like a narrator, and it's the psychiatrist talking to Nolan Strauss, the inmate that you kind of, he's like a pivotal part of the storyline in Dead Space 2.
Interesting. Yeah, it was kind of like Dead Space mixed with Doom.
Soon as that guy like came out of his like cocoon or whatever that was, and you were like suspended upside down watching it happen,
Yeah.
that immediately gave me like some Doom Hellraiser type vibes. Like, this isn't just a virus outbreak. This is like some form of intelligence is coming through.
Yeah, this ain't Umbrella.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah. So
Very
This is
Dead
the-
Spacey. I
this is
can't
the
stress that
original-
enough. This is essentially Dead Space 4.
kind of. I mean, it's different, but yeah, kind of. Like
I mean,
that.
the health bar on his neck, you know, it's literally a horizontal version of the Dead Space vertical health bar on the spine.
Yeah, I never played Dead Space 2 or 3, but the one thing in Dead Space
3
1
was terrible.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard, but in Dead Space 1 there were no melee weapons. So
Yeah. Oh, no, there was no melee weapons at all. It's just you could always melee with you could always do the foot stomp, and you could always melee with your shooting hand.
right, but in that trailer there's definitely a melee weapon that he uses. That was pretty tight. Like man, that was beautiful. What the hell did I just watch, man? I want that game right now.
It looks really good, and it makes me wonder, like, no game has really done what Dead Space has done since then, and they kind of ran its course. They did 3 of them, and they didn't like. I mean, for good reason, the sales weren't good for number 3 because it just wasn't there. But now all of a sudden, because that guy, he's not part of Sledgehammer. He's not part of EA. Am I wrong? EA is not doing this, are they?
Now, all Sledgehammer does now is fucking do patches for Warzone. They're like
the
a
Callisto
defeated
Protocol. Who's doing this? Is it?
It was the name of the company they showed at the beginning of the trailer. I didn't recognize it, so it's a new company or one I've never heard of.
Striking Distance Studios, but Crafton. I'm guessing that's the other. Well, there's no. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Epic Game. Oh, wait a minute. Crafton? Is that the production house? Anyways,
Dude, that at the end where that zombie demon bit that guy's head off like halfway. Dude, I haven't seen shit like that in a long time.
I haven't seen the shit like that since Dead Space, essentially. Yeah. But that's kind of the point I'm getting to. It's like no one's ever done what that guy's done, which makes me think that engine, that's a unique engine. I wonder if that guy just rebuilt the engine himself, or if he like owns the engine.
It looks super solid. It reminded me of like kind of a mix of Dead Space, the original Dead Space engine, and the Resident Evil 4 engine, like kind of like combined a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, if they built that from the ground up, just out of reference of the Dead Space engine, you know, they just saw it and they're like, we want to build something like that, then, dude, that's awesome. That's congrats, because that looks fucking beautiful. But something tells me, like, that looks just too good. That almost makes me suspect that they might have Dead Space code. Like, that guy might actually own his own shit.
You know, Broadcaster Nickels, as you know, I am a computer programmer by trade. And technically speaking, the companies I've worked for own all of my code and all of the programs I've created and worked on. But I'll tell you right now, I have the source code to every single application I've ever built in my life. So, like, there's a program I wrote for, let's say a company that exists in Kent, Washington, a block away from Caveman Kitchens. By the way, if you're ever near Caveman Kitchens, you should eat that shit because it's good.
Not anymore, dude. I think it's downhill.
Bruh. Don't talk shit about Caveman, all right?
I went there like, all right, whatever. I digress.
Anyway, a company that's very close to Caveman in Kent, Washington, I worked for at a time, and the flagship software that I worked on there, I could rebuild it right now on a laptop anytime I want. You know, if I wanted to create a new version of it for a new company, I could easily take, part of that code and sort of change just enough to where it's new. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to go ahead and say the creator of Dead Space probably kept his source code to Dead Space, and there might have been a starting point.
Because it's like too good. It's like, okay, but that's...
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna.
I played all three. I'm an avid fan of the first two. That's fucking Dead Space.
I always regret not playing the second one because I heard the second one was better than the first. But
it's a shame they didn't get remasters.
Why?
Survival horror, dude. It's such a misunderstood. To this day, I think honestly, what we're really getting to is most people are pussies and they don't like to admit it and they don't like to talk about it. And so they just ignore the genre outright because they're like, well, I'm not going to pretty much tell people that I don't want to play the game because I'm scared. So I'm just not going to talk about it.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's why the survival horror genre tried to rebrand itself in like the late 2000s, was it? When RE5 came out and it was an action game, basically.
Well, don't blame RE5.
Actually, it was more. It was like RE6.
Left 4 Dead.
RE6 was the one, right? Stuff, that was like super action game, right?
RE5 and 6, yeah.
But 6 was the one that crescendoed it, right? Like where you're just okay, this is not survival horror anymore.
That was the one where Leon S. Kennedy was doing triple backflips, somersaults, and then brushing his hair perfectly back and taking a fucking 100-yard shot with a fucking Glock 19 or whatever the fuck.
Okay, so he became Eisen from Bleach.
Exactly.
Got it. Yeah.
He was doing anime villain moves.
The survival horror genre like blew up in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, and then
I just said that, but I'm not gonna lie. I liked those games. 5 and 6, good time. I liked them. They just weren't survival horror.
Yeah. I couldn't stand 5 and 6. I didn't even play 6 much. I think I only played a demo of 6, but 5 I just like was I was really disappointed with 5.
5 and 6 don't hold a candle to RE4. And that being said, this might be controversial.
Oh shit! Here we go.
RE7 is, I think RE4 and 7 are just like neck and neck. But at some parts of RE7, I legitimately think it beats RE4.
In terms of fear,
yes,
I agree with you because
and just thrill in general. Because there's parts where it's probably coming, but just the setting and the ambience, you're like, this is genuinely doing so much more to try to scare me than RE4 would have ever tried.
Yeah, you know? RE4 was just like a perfect video game from a design perspective, from every perspective, essentially. RE7 wasn't a perfect video game, but it took fear. It took the fear part of survival horror and took it to a level I've never seen in any other game. And that includes Dead Space. Dead Space, there were a few moments in Dead Space where I definitely got scared, like playing it like late at night. And RE7 topped all of that. Like RE7 had a few moments where like my heart skipped a beat.
Yeah, dude, for sure. RE7 was one of the first like horror games I played a long time where when I got to the save point, I was like, I think I'm gonna take a break.
Yep. Oh, totally. I remember.
Like my heart's gonna
at the beginning of the game when the bitch cuts.
Oh, your girlfriend Mia.
Yes. After that happened, I turned the game off and I was like, I had to drink some whiskey. Like I literally had to go get a glass of whiskey.
And now think about the fact that game was in VR. So if you were doing that for the first time in VR,
one of my biggest regrets is not playing that game in VR. I really regret that.
That bitch cutting your hand off in VR, I only can imagine would have gave you close to a heart attack.
Oh, dude. Not in VR, it almost did. Like that game definitely had a specialness to it that's hard to quantify and hard to replicate.
For sure.
I never played Village. Did Village have anything like that? Was it on the level of 7 in that way?
Village was to 7 that 5 was to 4.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah, it was taking what those games did very, very, very well and turned up the action just a little too much and lost the special sauce, you know?
Yeah.
I will say, though, Village, it definitely has some really cool moments. And maybe it's just the director, because I think he did 7 as well. But it's just when you're given too much power, when you feel like you'll be able to survive just based off of, well-placed shots, it kind of takes the scariness away. And that's what 7 did very well. 7, dangled weapons in front of your face like you were going to get them. And then you, kept on going. You're like, fuck, I still can't kill that one enemy I ran into initially. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
So,
I feel like 7 is almost a different genre of video game from the rest of the
Resident genuine Evils. Survival horror.
It felt like a horror movie simulator to me, like that.
Yeah.
Remember the movie Brain Scan?
Yeah, dude.
It felt a little bit like that.
Yeah, like you were trapped. Oh,
yeah, man.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I said one time that it kind of reminded me of
Edward Furlong classic.
Dude, for sure. But you remember the Goosebumps? Goosebumps.
You remember Goosebumps, bro?
I said Goosebumps. Goosebumps, man. But you remember the Goosebumps Dark Carnival game? It was like a Myst game, but on the piece. It was Myst with a Goosebumps skin.
It was based on the first Goosebumps book that was Choose Your Own Adventure. So, Goosebumps, the original run, I think, was 50 or 60 books. I forget. I read almost every single one of them. And then at around 50 or 60, they started doing Choose Your Own Adventure books. And the very first one was the Dark Carnival from that game you're talking about. That's the OG Choose Your Own Adventure Goosebumps book.
Yeah. So, but that, as a kid playing that game, I got this really like weird feeling, like a
Yeah.
scared feeling. You know, well, I was really young, so Goosebumps scared me, but it was just like that feeling where it was just genuine fear. You're just like, damn, dude, this game's making my heart not feel good. So,
Yes, yeah.
And RE7 did that to me. Like, it was
Definitely.
just like there was this weird aura in that game where I was just like, this is genuinely fucking spooky.
Yes. And wrapping it back to Callisto Protocol, I definitely saw some signs that could be the case with this game as well. It didn't seem like it was overemphasizing action at all, and it felt like a lot of the action you saw was actually like gotcha death scenes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, that's what Dead Space always done well, right?
Yes.
It's like a jump scare action horror game.
Yeah.
But it's merged all that really well. Like, dude, before Dead Space, jump scares in games suck dick.
Yeah.
Like, they came out of the fucking gates like goats. Like, their ambient music. Speaking of that, sound engineering in games, other than the actual OSTs themselves, was kind of dog shit before Dead Space. Dead Space kind of was one of those games where they came out and set the bar for that particular asset in games. Because, like, Dead Space 1, dude, when you heard the pipe drop in the background, when you heard the things crawling in the ducts, and you saw like the baby demons running across that you never actually ended up having to fight, and then the enemies that would jump through windows, the flickering light, all that stuff, like, not a lot of games were doing that.
Yeah, good audio engineering in video games actually is really rare.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you there. Dead Space.
I hope they do
that.
And they should keep doing that because, I mean, you know, they should stick with what they do well. I hope they're not going to try to copy, and it doesn't look like they're trying to copy anyone. It looks like they're just trying to make Dead Space 4, which I'm super, super happy about.
Yeah, yeah.
You see those eggs that had the little fucking alien worm almost come out of them?
Dude, I did see that, and that's my
like
favorite part of the
shout out.
trailer. It's like a fucking tentacle thing coming out of an egg. Like, I've seen so much horror and so much sci-fi horror in my life. It's hard to surprise me, but when that shit happened, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that was
never
new.
good. That's never good, dude. Get out of there.
Oh man, I need to get Ice Cube in one of these games. Go Ghosts of Mars on this shit,
dude.
An underrated movie that was.
Was that Craven? Was that Wes Craven?
I'm not sure, honestly, who made that movie. I don't think it was Wes Craven, but it might have been.
Oh no! That was Clive Barker.
I think
sure
it was based.
Clive.
It was based on. Yeah, I think it was based on a Clive Barker book. You're right. I think that is true. People pan that movie, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I saw a different movie than the people that panned it, because that movie was fucking sick, and Ice Cube was awesome in it. Like,
dude,
of all the
movie
movies,
genuinely scared me when it came out. I was a
fuck
little
yeah,
pussy.
dude.
I was like, I'm not watching this. I had to watch it a couple years later.
Yeah, I'm real serious when I say, and I think I said this when we reviewed Army of the Dead, that Snyder movie that came out last year. I really think Army of the Dead took some homage from Ghosts of Mars. Those zombies, the intelligent zombies, they really reminded me of Ghosts of Mars. So,
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. All right, broadcaster. Well, we've never reviewed a season of The Boys before. It's weird, but this is going to be the first season of The Boys we review. It's season 3.
Damn, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know, because we both have watched it since the beginning. We both like it. I'm not sure why we never reviewed it before, but are you ready to get to our review of season 3 of The Boys?
Indeed.
And we're back with our review of The Boys season 3, and
The Boys.
The creators of this superhero Spaceballs describes it as following. It's been a year of calm. Homelander's subdued. Butcher works for the government, supervised by Huey of all people. But both men itch to turn this peace and quiet into blood and bone. So when the boys learn of a mysterious anti-soup weapon, it sends them crashing into the Seven, starting a war and chasing the legend of the first superhero, Soldier Boy. Broadcaster. What did you think about Soldier Boy?
Gay.
Huh?
What?
Say that again?
I think Supernatural was subpar.
Supernatural?
That's where Jensen Ankles, or whatever his name is, got famous.
Oh, the guy who plays Soldier Boy?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen him in anything before.
Oh. Well, good. He hasn't had a lot of... his portfolio isn't strong.
Not a strong portfolio.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Really, most of the characters in The Boys, I haven't really seen in anything else, like except for Carl Urban, obviously, and Jack Quaid voice acts in Star Trek Lower Decks, which is pretty decent. It sort of is to Star Trek what The Boys is to superhero shit. It's like kind of a parody a little bit, but it's funny. As much as of a parody Lower Decks is, it's still stronger than Discovery or fucking Picard, so that's saying something.
So funny that guy's a Quaid. As soon as you realize it, you're just like, dude,
what a family barbecue
Quaid
to be
is strong, dude. You can see it in all of them.
Do you think Randy calls him up before he does the role and gives him advice? This is how I do this one, Jackie boy.
I don't think Randy's cool with his family.
I'd like to think that Jack Quaid and Randy Quaid are best friends, but yeah,
that'd be dope.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, that'd be sick.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna pretend is true, but it's probably not. Man, what do you
He's
overall?
Dennis Quaid's kid.
Yeah, he's Dennis Quaid's kid.
Okay.
And Dennis Quaid, while he does not necessarily jive too well with Randy, Dennis Quaid is a pretty good guy too. Like he's Dennis not
Quaid
like
has always given me like our dad energy.
Yes.
Every time I see him, I'm just like, he's a little unhinged, but yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Randy Quaid is more like JC.
Might catch him dropping an N-bomb every once in a while, but he's cool. He's cool.
Yeah, he might print out a picture of a CEO of a big company and put it on his wife's head and then fuck her from behind on Snapchat. That could happen, but
he might refer to women as pigs, from time to time.
Oh man. So I don't know. This is a weird season. What did you think about the season overall? Where do you place it? Let's start there. There's 3 seasons of The Boys. In the top, in the 3 tier, where do you put season 3? Like, where do you put it on the podium?
Trying to remember what season 2 was about the most. That was pretty much
season 2 was the
put it
Nazi
in
bitch
place.
Stormfront.
Yeah. Actually, it's probably 3rd place to be honest. 2nd season was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it goes in order, to be honest. First
You
season,
do?
1st place. 2nd season, 2nd place. 3rd season, 3rd place. This 3rd season was kind of like, I don't know. It was meh.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. There are a few episodes that are really good. There are a few that are sort of like, okay.
Like they screwed some things with Black Noir's character that didn't really make sense to me.
Are you talking about the cartoon shit?
No. There's like in the comic I don't really want to spoil too much because like at this point the comics quite a bit different. But yeah, like I don't know if they're gonna like somehow try to fool us or something, but I don't know. There's just this season like was a huge departure from where I thought that they were what we were gonna get, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it was still good. Jensen Ackles did a really good job as Soldier Boy. It was pretty funny. Every line he had was fucking hilarious.
I love Soldier Boy.
He played a degenerate really well.
they tried to make him unlikable and it failed. He is very likable, and he made me laugh probably more than any other character in the show. Like the way he treated Huey was excellent.
Yeah, dude. Dude, the way Maeve and him treat fucking Huey, dude.
Yes, yeah.
Huey just walks that room and Maeve's just like, God, you just scream, cuck me. Like, I can't stand it.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite parts of season 3 is in the very beginning, and it's when Homelander has Stormfront like on life support and like her whole body's gone and everything. Yeah. And she's like sitting there like writhing in pain, and he basically forces her to give him a hand job with her only hand. That is correct. That is one of the darkest things I've ever seen on television. It was really like quintessential The Boys for me. Like that whole thing, even though it was super brief, like when I think of The Boys and like what I like about it, that is like the perfect example. It's just like shit that no one else would dare put on television.
Yeah. Well, they're just really good with making fun of everything too. Mm-hmm. Like they're really relevant with like I don't know if you ever caught that, but they're like, what if we get like when Starlight and Maeve were talking in the apartment and she's just like, when you sent out that message, all those LGB allies fought for me. And for a second I was like, oh, that's gay as hell. But then I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of a slight at like, they just said LGB. They just said lesbian, gay, and bi. I was like, damn, dude, they just cut all the losers out. Mm-hmm. It's like, they're like, get out of here, freaks. Yep. Yeah. So it was almost like they were like, it's like that perfect comedy art form where you're making fun of everybody and no one knows how to fucking look at it, you know?
Definitely. That is the thing that I'll give them a lot of credit for, especially because fucking, what's his name? The Judd Apatow actor guy from Superbad, from, you know. God damn it, I can't believe I can't think of his name right now.
Who?
Oh my God, I cannot think of his name right now.
From Superbad?
Yeah, he was one of the cops in Superbad.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that plays Barry in that show?
No, the other one.
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. God, yeah. Seth Rogen. I cannot believe I just forgot Seth Rogen's name. But yeah, Seth Rogen. He's involved in this show. Like, I'm not sure exactly, like, if he's like boys with Garth Ennis, because he was also involved in Preacher, which is another Garth Ennis comic book TV show.
I think he's just getting into that. That's what he does now because no one likes him acting.
He's a super woke tard. Like, super woke tard. And for him to be involved in this show, you would think that this would take a hard left tinge in the comedy. And there is definitely some anti-right-wing... I mean, there's a lot of anti-right-wing jokes in the show, but like you just brought up, there's also some left-wing bashing. And the funny thing is it's a little bit more undercover, like what you just pointed out with them leaving the T out. Like, it's sort of more subliminal.
QIA plus.
Right, yeah. Yes.
Plus.
Yeah, so I do give them a lot of credit for sort of, like, going after both sides, which is what I wish everyone would do in these types of shows. Like, it's the
Well,
reason
dude,
why The Onion sucks now. The Onion is just fucking, right-wing bashing, basically.
Well, they were also making fun of like the whole calling everyone Nazis too.
Mhm.
Like people didn't pick up on that. Like, is this like they're making fun of the light terminology of what a Nazi is, like, or how it's used nowadays? Like when when Charlize Theron turns around as Stormfront and she's just like, my soul belongs to the Fourth Reich. I
so
fucking
good.
died, dude. I was literally laughing for legitimately 2 minutes. I was like, damn, that's an opener.
Yes, that's another one of the great parts of
I'll never forget
the
that
season. Yeah. So I'll get to, I want to get to what I don't like about this season, and it's Temp V. What do you think about Temp V in general? Which, like, that's like the cornerstone of this season, essentially. Is this new temporary version of the V compound that doesn't permanently make you a soup, but it gives it to you very loosey-goosey with the rules of Temp V. I'm not sure if it's like a 12-hour, and then your carriage turns into a pumpkin. I'm not quite sure. But what do you think overall about that aspect of the season?
I mean, this is like a plot device. It was a mediocre plot device, but I don't want to spoil too much, because there's more to this. There's more seasons coming out, so.
Well, no, I'm just talking about this season. I don't care about anything in the future. I'm just saying, like, in the way that they use this Temp V thing, the way that they basically used it as a way to allow Butcher to become a soup temporarily, it just felt really contrived to me. And maybe it's not fair to say contrived when you're referencing a parody show, because at the end of the day, this is basically Spaceballs Superman. Like, this is not like a legitimate like superhero property. It is making fun of superheroes in general. But still, like, it just felt really like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we gave Butcher superpowers and it just turned out that he has the same powers as his most hated enemy, Homelander? Like, it just felt like really like, okay, so he gets the eye beams too, and they have like this moment at the end of the show where they both eye beam at the same time, then look at each other. I'm just like, okay, come the fuck on. The one thing I will say positive about it is I love the fact that they gave Huey's his power is that he teleports, but he's naked after he teleports. That was great. I love that one.
Yeah, he got a good one.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like, that's perfect. But the way they did it with Butcher just felt super, I don't know, contrived, cringy.
Dude, he's the leader, dude.
Like, what are the odds that his power would be the same as Homelander's? And also, like,
I don't think he's nearly as powerful. He just got laser eyes.
But he essentially got the same power. No, he got the same power as Homelander. Like, he also got like the invulnerability.
All the soups get somewhat invulnerability, but it looks his main power was laser eyes. And the only reason he was beating Homelander was because Soldier Boy was there with him. He can't fly. Like, no one can fly like Homelander.
That's okay. That's true. I mean, no, he didn't get the exact powers of Homelander, but you get my point. Like, it just felt like a little like on the nose. Also,
I think what they were trying to do initially, because the comic, I think they're trying to like make fun of a very iconic moment from like real superhero comics, where like Superman and like Darkseid were like their lasers were clashing together.
Interesting.
That's like a famous double page spread,
But yeah, there is definitely that there is was that at the that was at the Hero-gasm, which by the way, the most highly rated episode in all 3 seasons of The Boys now is episode 6 of season 3, Hero-gasm. Agree or disagree? Really? Yeah, it has like a 9.8. What do you think about that? Because I didn't think Herogasm, I didn't think it was a bad episode, but I didn't think it was great either. Like, I was really surprised when I saw that.
I mean, it was probably my favorite episode of the season,
It was.
but I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think about all the other episodes. I don't think it's that. I wouldn't put it over the other episodes that much.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. It was kind of a, I don't know. It's
It was pretty dope. I mean, the house, just an orgy house filled with a bunch of fucking B-listing superheroes and fucking, what's his name, A-Train finding Blue Hawk there. Just fucking went ape shit and gave himself a heart attack, grinding him on the pavement.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Yeah, I like that. It wasn't a bad episode per se, but like when I think about it being like the best,
The Wonder Twins were pretty funny too.
Yeah, I like the Wonder Twins. Yeah, I don't know. I think that my favorite episode from the season is probably the first one. Maybe. I don't know. No real episodes in the season.
Oh, the one where Homelander's just fucking super depressed.
Yeah.
That one is pretty funny. Everyone's super fucking scared to fucking go near him.
Yes. Yeah.
Your points are up. Ooh.
Yeah. It's sort of like a ho-hum season a little bit. It's weird too because like all the press and like all of the reaction that I've seen has all been like, this is the greatest season of The Boys, and you know it's a game-changing moment for The Boys, and like I've seen all these weird articles like this is when The Boys became the great version of something that they never knew they could be, and like all this like weird grandiose talk,
bullshit paid PR.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they paid for a bunch of like rags to post bullshit articles about it. I'm not sure.
Of course.
But
why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I thought Herogasm was a decent episode, but not the best. If I was going to say the best, it'd either be the first or the last episode. The last episode had some parts to it I really liked, and one of the things I liked was Homelander sort of courting his son back.
Yeah.
And the son
almost scared me up a little bit. I was just like, damn, this guy's a fucking psycho, but this is really a genuine father-son moment.
Yeah, totally. And I like how the son essentially ruins everything at the end.
Yeah.
Like that was like he's such like a D character in the show, and like you don't even really think about him for a long time, and then all of a sudden he becomes the pivotal moment at the end. I liked that. The one thing I will say about the last episode that I didn't like is the fact that they had this epic moment where Maeve takes Soldier Boy as he's nuking, doing like a fucking Vegeta nuclear bomb self-suicide attack, and they blow up in the air, and you're like, oh fuck, Soldier Boy and Maeve just died. And then at the end they both survived. I hate that, dude. Have some balls. I hate it when they fake kill characters in shows all the time. I hate it in The Walking Dead when they did it with Glenn underneath the dumpster. Like they've done all these shows that do that. They just bug the fuck out of me. I really wish they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I hear you. I definitely hear you on that, but I think you'll be happy about season 4. If they go anywhere near, I'm thinking you'll be happy with season 4.
Well, I do love Soldier Boy.
Not like so drawn out to the point where you're like, that was, cringy or something like that.
Yeah.
Soldier Boy, they need another season of Soldier Boy. You can't fucking throw away that one season.
I really love the part where like Homelander shows up with Ryan, and he's like, hey dad, look, this is your grandkid, like we should become like a super team together and blah blah blah, and like and Homelander just thinks he's hit this home run and like everything's gonna have this happy ending, and Soldier Boy's just like, yeah, I'd do that if you weren't such a bitch. Like he just like tears into him. It does not give a fuck. Basically calls him a gay. I like
gay.
that was so fucking awesome.
Oh my god.
That was great. I
mean, he's not wrong. Boy, he got problems.
Yes.
On
I wish I was here so I could have prevented you from becoming a gay. It was so good.
It was one of the best lines of the season.
I love Soldier. Dude, Soldier Boy is the season to me. Like, if you take Soldier Boy out of this season, it
would be done.
It's like garbage tier. Yeah. But
when they're in the hotel and he's just like fucking beaten off to that. And then I forget what he's talking on the phone for, but he like hangs up and he's just smoking he's smoking that roach on the bed. He's like, we're gonna need more weed.
Yeah.
This guy's a gangster, dude.
Yeah. He really is. The funny thing is he's not one dimensional either. He's a very nuanced character.
Oh my god, what was it? When he's like, I didn't say anything. Listen, dude, you have PTSD. You need to calm down. He's like, I have PTSD. Shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Like, all the greatest moments of this season were all Soldier Boy related, essentially. Yeah. I think one of the really downsides of this season was all of the stuff with Mother's Milk and Frenchie. What did you think about their sort of like B stories? I really didn't like it. I don't know if this is source material.
Stories.
Huh?
I think they for one, they neutered Mother's Milk story because it's just too. If they did anything closer to the comics, I think people would get upset.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
It's too real for them. They don't want to see too many black people dying. Like, they flirted around with like Soldier Boy killing Mother Milk's family, dad and shit like that. Like, in the comics, they actually fleshed that out a lot, and they might in season 4. I'm not sure, but
yeah.
I know why. I think I know why they kind of made Mother's Milk's character just lame, because they were kind of handcuffed with his storyline in general. Frenchie, I'm really surprised they tamed Frenchie so much. It's kind of weird. Like, both their side stories were good in the comics, but it was like they were afraid to make him as graphic and as cool, I guess, if you will. But the rest of the show didn't feel handcuffed like that. If you read the comics and then you watch the show, like, Frenchie and Mother's Milk's feel like afterthoughts. Like, they're just were necessary side characters there to move certain story points along, but they actually didn't really care about the progress of those characters too much.
Yeah, it felt kind of pointless. Like, what's the name of Frenchie's girlfriend?
Are you talking about the Russian one, or
no, the Asian girl, the hot Asian that lost her powers and then got her.
Kamiko.
I liked Kamiko until this season. I think this season kind of ruined her because, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm misremembering this. Maybe I'm on the moon right now, but I swear to Christ, Kamiko's whole thing for the entire show up till this season was, I don't want to be a soup. I don't want my powers. And then by a miracle, Soldier Boy kills her powers and makes her a human again. And then she's instantly like, I want my powers back.
Well,
am I wrong?
Instantly, she got the ever-living shit beaten out of her as a human for the first time. And then she was like, the super healing wasn't that bad.
I guess.
I think that's kind of the train of thought.
I guess. I don't know. I just found it to be really like, okay, like your whole plot. Am I wrong about that? Was she not like, oh, I don't want to have powers anymore? Was that a thing?
No, yeah,
with her?
that was her and Frenchie's
Okay.
like whole goal essentially.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I'm not crazy. It just felt weird to
Well,
me
not, I
that
wouldn't say their goal, but you know what I'm saying. That was like one of their like dream, like the vacation card tacked on the wall was them to like go away, and
yeah.
she wouldn't have to like be a superhuman, and she could live a normal life type of thing.
And also the other thing with her, what's the deal? She's a mute, right? So she's a mute, but like there's a few points in this season where she starts talking, but then like they kind of just drop it and she doesn't talk anymore.
Yeah,
What the fuck's up with that?
that's kind of weird. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I read the comics, so I don't know if there was something to that. But it did. Was only one scene from what I remember in the series where she said one word and she was like,
And it
I
was
forget
right
what
when
it
she
was.
lost her powers, right? So like when in my mind I'm thinking, okay, so somehow her powers had something to do with her being a mute, and now that she doesn't have her powers anymore, she can start talking. And I was like, okay, well that's interesting. At least she's gonna start talking, and it's something new with her character. But then it never goes anywhere, and she never talks again. I'm just like, what? What the fuck was that? I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking on this one a little too much, but it bothered me.
"You're just red pilled and base, dude." That's all.
Yeah.
You know, like women and their nonsense yapping away. You know, talking about superpowers they obviously want.
Mhm.
Makes me sick.
Yeah, and then like Frenchie with like his ex-girlfriend that like just shows up out of nowhere, and then like he's like risking fucking Kamiko over this like ex-girlfriend. That felt like a little weird, like okay, like there's nothing earned about it. It just felt like really forced and shoehorned in. Maybe the comic books there's more to that makes it more acceptable, but I didn't like that either.
Again, it's one of those things where they're handcuffed with, you know, because like they kind of flirted around with the concept in the first season, like Kamiko's age and stuff like that, and hanging out with Frenchie and them getting close. But like Frenchie went out of his way as a character to like pretty much say he wasn't like sexually involved with her at all because it was very nebulous how old she was because she didn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole premise of their character, right? So I think with, you know, going further in the series when they kissed and stuff, I think they wanted to make the kiss kind of apprehensive because they don't want to like, I don't know, they're flirting with things that certain people don't like, and they don't want people getting mad. You know, towing the line. They don't like dudes fucking young women. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. There's this really weird thing out there in culture right now where even though 18 is the legal age to fuck someone, they still look down upon like 30-year-old men trying to fuck like 20-year-old women. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what they were afraid of.
Mm.
They're like, well, we know Frenchie's a perv, and in the comics he does fuck her, and they clearly have a relationship. But in the series, we're just going to kind of flirt with it.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. The thing I liked about season 1 of The Boys, and to a certain point season 2, but mostly season 1, is I liked the ensemble team. I liked Frenchie. I liked Mother's Milk. I liked Butcher. I liked Hugh. I liked them all as a team. And in this season, I didn't at all. The team didn't feel real. It felt like a bunch of like egos fighting each other. Like we already talked about,
was broken up.
they were quote unquote, but like they weren't at the same time. Like they had their little fucking office in that New York high rise building that they showed them in several times together. Like they're all sort of like at odds with each other, but like they're still working with each other.
They're kind of like at the end of the ropes type of thing, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, do you? Do you?
I don't know. I didn't like Black Noir and his fucking
Slimer, dude. Slime.
Dude, that fucking dude, that animation shit was dumb. Did you like that?
I thought it was pretty funny.
Man, I
Black
really
Noir's
didn't.
autistic. I thought his autism was portrayed pretty well.
Ah,
I didn't like how. I can't say much on this. I don't want to ruin because I know people are gonna go read the comics now because The Boys is I think the next season is probably going to be close to the end. If not, they might cap it with a movie or something, whatever they're gonna do. But it's getting close, and so I know people are probably going to go read the comics, and I don't really want to ruin it for people.
Yeah,
because it has departed quite a bit from the comics at this point.
yeah, it always kind of does, doesn't it?
Indeed.
Uh,
They've also left out some really cool parts, which I don't know why. Like, there's this really cool part at the very beginning of the comic. It's like it's the opening scene. So this is not something huge to ruin, but like, it's like a mission for the team, and you don't realize it at first, but you're just like watching this fat sack of shit with a toilet bowl and a mustache, like looking at his TV with a fucking bathrobe on that's not tied, just sitting on his couch, just being just an absolute slob. And the narrator of the comic is talking about him. He's a superhero, gone, bad, essentially. And then after the narration stops, like a bullet goes through his window, and it's I think it's Butcher or it's Huey, I'm not sure. Puts a bullet straight through the window and hits him in the arm or something like that, and he like has to run out he's like on the top floor of a skyscraper hotel or apartment building or something like that. So he jumps out the window, and turns out he's Spider-Man. He's like a Spider-Man character. He's like a pedo Spider-Man.
Oh, God.
and like, so he's on the run on these rooftops, and it's like a rooftop chase scene with the team, and it's super cool. And it was one of my favorite parts of the comic. Like, I loved that part. Sometimes I open it up and I read it sometimes, and I was just really surprised for them not to have that, like not show up at all. So, and there's other scenes like that I don't want to give away too much, but it's just like, what the fuck?
yeah.
I think it's like my point with Frenchie. I think there's this really weird, like, the mild censorship going on at the Amazon, where they're like, they want to avoid certain topics at all, like the pedophile Spider-Man at the beginning, and like Frenchie maybe fucking someone close to being a minor, type of thing. They just insinuate it. Like, they just try to avoid all those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny too, because I feel like this is one of like the most like sort of, I don't know what the right word is. It's just like extreme shows on television, especially when it comes to
for sure.
gore. Like, I've seen so much horror in my life. Like, I've watched horror movies since I was a little kid. I've seen it all. But there's certain scenes in this show where it makes me blush a little bit, where I'm just like, wow. Like, they really push the envelope in terms of gore compared to any other show. And like, that's including shows like The Walking Dead and shows that are like all about gore. I see shit in The Boys that I'm just like, holy fuck.
Yeah, when Blue Hawk was scraped on the pavement at the end there, that was...
Exactly.
Yeah. I was surprised they went there. I was like, damn, dude, there's a budget behind that kill.
Oh, fuck yeah, there was. That was brutal, man. Like, it's weird that a show that pushes it that far with gore is sort of afraid to push it with other things, like maybe social issues, stigmas, stuff like that, where you would kind of think they'd be like, well, we're already fucking having like a one-armed, no-legged woman give Homelander a hand job on her deathbed. Like, can we not show pedo Spider-Man getting murked on the rooftop? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, it's weird that they're drawing these lines then I'm just like, did you really need to draw a line? Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, they seem arbitrary at first glance, but I think they go deeper. I think they're skirting subjects of things they don't want people to argue about, aka they think they're better than the public perceives them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know this, but MAPS, is a new term for pedophiles.
Oh, so yeah, that's like
and then so it's
the
like they're trying to
left-wing-
avoid the subject matter because they don't want people to talk negatively about it. 'cause they
That's
know
a
it will
great
happen.
point, because the I don't like saying the far left because it's kind of a cringy term, just like the far right, but like people
You just call
on
them
the
lunatics.
Yeah, okay, lunatics. Lunatics are
Bad
on
people, children.
Twitter trying to normalize pedophiles to the point where they wanted to add them to the LGBTQAI++ acronym. Like they were trying to do that like a while back, and they did not succeed. Like people drew a line and they're like, nah, we're not.
Yeah, because
like,
they did that, they know they'd be fucking the way of the dinosaurs real quick.
Right, but there is a sect of those people that think that pedos are like, should be normalized.
And mainly those people are in
accepted.
Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Elijah Craig knows a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Or Elijah Wood, not Elijah Craig.
I don't know if you know this either. Fun fact. We may have talked about this, but Simon Pegg, Hugh plays Huey's dad in the series.
Yeah.
Huey, the character in the comic book, was actually modeled after Simon Pegg.
I believe that.
Like literally to a T. He was like Simon Pegg in the comic.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was like John Renault in Onimusha 3,
Oh, man. Dude, speaking of John Renault, there's this really trashy sort of mystery novel-based TV show on Netflix called Who Killed Sarah? That's like, it's a Mexican show.
Mexican show.
Yeah, it's Mexican. It's a Mexican. It's shot in Mexico. It's all Mexican actors. It's a Mexican production. But the reason I bring this up is John Renault is in the final season that I just watched. Like, he just shows up as like the arc villain, divisive arc conservative John Renault.
Yeah, dude.
He just shows up in the show.
Arch conservatives, dude. Those are my people. Nothing like a good couple arch conservatives to, have some brews with.
Anyway, yeah, he just shows up in the final season of that show as like this crazy villain, and I hadn't seen him in anything in so long. I was just like, wow, it's super random, and he's French. He's not Mexican. So it's like, why? What is he doing in this Mexican show? It's really weird. Anyway, go play Onimusha 3, children. It's a great game.
Play Onimusha 1 and 2. Already buy the trilogy. Whatever.
Buy the trilogy.
Don't start with 3, dog.
No, go backwards. Start with 3, then go to 2, then go to 1.
You need to play Yubei Agu or whatever. Dude, that line he throws at the end of fucking Onimusha 2, he's just like, fucking goddamn it, he's just like, I'll never sold my soul to the son of a demon. Something like that. It's just like, I was like, damn, dude. He was practicing that line in the mirror for a long time.
Yeah. What else? What did you
Boys
think?
Season 3, Amazon Prime, kids. Go check it out. Good time. Good times.
I guess
Not
the only
best times, but
the only other major thing from this season I feel like we haven't talked about yet is the Deep.
The second favorite part of the season.
So one of the most legendary parts of the first season is when Annie first joins the Seven and the Deep. He goes deep.
Yeah, someone would call it sexual assault.
Call it what you will, but that was that was the moment. I remember when I was first watching The Boys, and I wasn't sold on it, and I'm like, what is this? Is this any good? I liked Preacher. That's the reason I even watched The Boys, because I like Preacher, and I knew that the guy who made Preacher also made The Boys, so I was giving it a chance. That was the moment where I was like, oh, this is something special. Like, they got the balls to do this. And when the first season came out, like, what, 2018, 2019? It was well into the wokeverse. Like, for them to portray that at that time, I just felt like took some balls.
It definitely was. That was the switching of the pendulum, though.
Yeah,
that was one of the signal flares going up. That we had survivors in the forest, you know.
yeah. The Deep kind of was a side character in season 2. Like, I didn't really like him or dislike him much. He was sort of like, his whole storyline was him joining like Scientology or whatever. It was whatever. I didn't really care for it much. But in season 3, I loved the way that Homelander used the Deep as a weapon against Annie. Like, that was hilarious. Like, the way that he just basically was like, guess what? We're bringing the Deep back in, and you're gonna fucking endorse it, bitch. Like, the way he did that was classic. And then the way that the whole sort of the rest of the
social
Deeps
media sphere thing is the one that fueled all that too. He's just like, someone's like, well, all you need is some points. And then he went on that tirade. They're like, your points are up. He's like, fuck yes.
All right, Annie.
On the chopping block now, bitch.
Yes. And like the whole running gag of him fucking the octopus, I thought was really funny, especially the part where he tries to bring the octopus in as a threesome. That whole scene with his wife, where the wife thinks like, oh, he's horny, he wants to fuck me, and she's like starting to get into it, and he's like, I want to spice things up. And I'm just like, as soon as he said that, I knew exactly what was happening, but I still loved the whole build up to it, where he's like trying to break it to her. That he wanted to have a threesome with her and an octopus. That was magical. That was a magical scene. She thinks you're beautiful, honey. When she said, the octopus said she like wanted to like suck her nipples or something. Like, there's some weird lewd line where the octopus said she wanted to do something to her. Like,
well, he was just like, he was like, he wants to try you, or she wants to try you now.
Yeah,
something like that.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but that whole scene was really good. Like, there's some good laughs in this season. That's the thing I'll give it. I don't think it's the best season, but there are definitely some solid laughs, and it's from multiple angles too. It's not all Soldier Boy. A lot of it comes from Soldier Boy, but some of it comes from the Deep, some of it comes from Homelander. Not much from anywhere else. So like, there's not a lot of laughs coming from Mother's Milk or Frenchie or Butcher. I guess Huey, because of his temp V power making him naked, kind of has a few laughs, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone kind of took a side seat for Soldier Boy, and like the origin story and his team and the hunting down, and there was like micro character progression going on for a lot of new people in this season. So
yeah,
it made sense.
Yeah. There was a lot of political stuff in this season, though, I have to say. Like, I'll be fair and say they went after both sides. I think they went after the right wing a little bit more than the left wing, but whatever. Either way, they did go after both sides. I'm not going to really harp on it too much, but I think in general, it just felt a little like, I don't think it's going to age well. You know what I mean? Like, some of the quotes like that, Mother's Milk's
Charlize Theron saying "My soul belongs to the For the Right."
No, I think that's going to age wonderfully. That was amazing. But the white guy that's fucking Mother Milk's ex-wife, that's like the stepdad who's obsessed with Homelander. Like, they kind of modeled him as like a QAnon.
Yeah,
and that, like, some of the stuff that goes on with him, I don't think is going to age well. It's just sort of like weird references, and like the way that he sort of talks is sort of cringy, and I don't know, like that, like, of all the political stuff, that's the part that I was sort of just like, I think you guys need to tone it down a little bit. Like, there's a little too much topical politics. Like, politics is fine, but too topical.
Yeah, they definitely took their opportunity to turn the Homelander cult, a fan base, into Trump MAGA people in this season.
I was fine with that part. Like, the part where Homelander like decides to go off script, and you're like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck Vought. I'm fucking Homelander. You know, they're all lying to you. Like, that whole part about it, I was okay with that part. Like,
really? Because that was like, I thought that was exactly what you're talking about, because they were like pretty much insinuating that people that believe in conspiracies and shit like that are people that are on the wrong side. You know?
Right. No, I get that, and that's true. But what I'm saying is that they did it, the way that they did it with Homelander felt fun. And it didn't feel like
when Ryan gets bricked and fucking he just lasers that guy, and then everyone was like scared to death for a second, like, should we all run? And then fucking what's his name was just like, yeah. Yeah. And,
yes.
And then Homelander's like, oh, these people are dumb asses. Okay, I got it. I got this.
Yes. That part of it I was cool with. It's the part with the dad, with Mother Milk's baby mama stepdad guy.
That's what I'm talking about. He's the one that like got the crowd to, you know, like the fact that someone just got lasered.
Right. No, and I'm okay with that part of it. Specifically, that's okay, but like the other stuff with him is the part where I was just sort of, it just felt weird. Like, he does like a quote, like a QAnon quote at one point. I don't even remember which episode it was in, but it was like just him and Mother's Milk. It was the one where like they caught him at the gathering or whatever, what you were just talking about with Homelander, and then Mother's Milk shows up to like confront him in the parking lot. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
That's the scene I'm talking about. That scene, if I had to pick one scene in the show where the politics got a little too topical, a little too specific, a little too like, this is going to age like milk, it was that scene. For one thing, Mother's Milk should have just started beating the fuck out of him. The fact that he was just standing there and like, you know, being reasonable and logical and like that was weird to me, because Mother's Milk is sort of like a brute and like he's sort of like an action guy, and the fact that he was just like letting that cuck motherfucker like talk to him like that and act like that was really weird to me. But then just what the guy was saying himself was just like he was like doing.
He is a cringy character.
Yeah, he was like, super cringy. Yeah,
over top portrayal of an already cringy real life stereotype.
Yes, exactly. Great. Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
What's his name? IMDb him real quick.
IMDb that names. Motherfucker. Let's cancel this guy. Let's post
to the
on
stocks with him and his family.
To the gulag. All right, broadcaster. Any closing thoughts on season 3 of The Boys before we wrap this shit up? Anything we forgot? We kind of glossed over the Russian trip, but
that's kind of a quick thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like whatever.
I mean, we all pretty much said. I don't think it's too much. I mean, I guess I would say that the Russian, if you're not even talking about like them going back in time and showing him do the experiments or like talking about him getting taken away or whatever, but when they actually go to Russia to get him, when Kimiko gets blasted by his radiation through the wall, I just found that to be super dumb. I was just like, he's clearly powering up and Kimiko's just like, they're just standing there in that direction. I was like, dude, just, he's like didn't attack you guys. He clearly is. You can just move out of the way. He's probably just trying to escape.
Yeah.
It seemed weird, like the way they just stood there and got hit by it and went through the wall.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm not saying like they could have done that, but they could have like, I don't know, directed it better to make it look like that was that there was no other way.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that and like discovering the vapor drug that Trank's Soldier Boy, like that whole thing was super like casual and
MacGuffin.
It was like super MacGuffin. It was and like the way they discovered it was super lame too. It's just like have a cup of coffee and he's like, oh, the vapor, and then Mother Milk just walks in. He's like, oh, I'm glad you're here. I just figured it out. It's like what the fuck.
Yeah, there are a few moments like that in this show, in this season of the show. Where it's tough though because it's like you're tempted to not judge the shows harshly because it's a parody. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like it's a parody, sure, but it's also a TV show. You kind of have to judge it the way you judge other shows. I don't know. It's weird.
Don't insult my intelligence.
I guess my final parting shot on this season is, I think, one of my least favorite parts of this season, if not the least favorite, is Annie's portrayal in general in this season was really like lame. They turned her into like a fucking Karen essentially. And the part that I really hated is towards the end of the season when she became an Instagram influencer. And like half of her scenes were her on like some weird Instagram feed being like, "Vought is lying to you, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Soldier Boy's alive and we got to get the truth out there." Like that, all that stuff.
That's the type of shit I'm talking about. Like where they modernize, like there's certain things where they just depart from the comic so much. And it's just like, well, what the fuck? Like that clearly wouldn't have been in the comic.
Right. I've never seen the comics, but I'm guaranteeing
it's done a long time before that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I hated that. I thought that shit was super cringe. It's so bad that it brought me out of the show when those scenes happened.
It also broke my heart that she got Botox injections in her lips. That broke my heart. She was super fine, super hot. Why would you do that to your lips?
There is a sickness with Hollywood women that think that they need to get plastic surgery and all this shit when they are still super hot in their 20s. It's this, dude, back in the day, like these women, they weren't getting these surgeries till they were actually aging out of Hollywood and they felt like they had to. Like they do it in their 40s. Yeah, in their 40s or their 50s. Now these girls are doing it in their 20s when they are still smoke shows. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
Weird. It's very odd.
It is, man. It's a trend. It's not just the chick who plays Annie. I've seen it happening with lots of young actresses where I'm just like, dude, you are still 15 to 20 years before you even need to think about that. What are you doing to yourself?
Like Maeve, look at Maeve. Maeve's like at least 10 years older than the chick that plays Starlight, and she's natural. You can tell.
Yeah, by the way, have you seen her like in real life? Like pictures of her
smoke show.
She is so hot in real life. Like they actually make her look like they kind of like make her look homely in the show.
Well, Maeve's kind of butchy in the comics, so I think that's kind of what they were trying to do.
Yeah, she is a dime piece in real life. The actress who plays Maeve for sure, and she is probably more than 10 years older than the Annie actress. She's probably like close to 15.
I wouldn't put it too much. Yeah, maybe. If she's 15, I'd say she's aging very great.
I think the chick that plays Maeve is my age.
No, and I think the chick that plays Annie's probably like 25 plus. And if she's 15, that would make the chick that plays Maeve 40.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Is like Maeve was in her late 30s, and the Annie actress is in her like mid 20s.
Maeve is in her 40s. She's doing good.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I'm not a scientist. I didn't look this shit up.
Well, historic evidence is pointing to about the age of 35 being a drastic point of decline for most women. So,
yep. it's it is what it is, and Annie, you were a little too quick on the draw there, bitch. I don't know what you were
fuck are you thinking? Beautiful, and I'd still what's up? Hit me up.
Yes.
If you want a paid review, let me know. I can give that to you. I'm available.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Fellas, crackcellar.com. We got the lewds. We got the good stuff.
All right, broadcaster. As you know, here in the Crack Cellar, we have a official, patented Ghostbusters rating system in which we rate all of our reviews. And on that system, broadcaster, what do you rank season 3 of The Boys?
I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a CNN correspondent Vigo. Okay.
A Brian Stelter?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a BS Vigo. BSX Vigo. What happened to that little worm? Is he still on that fucking show? Or on that platform?
Dude, Brian Stelter is something else, man.
That guy's Map for sure, dude.
Dude.
He's like, I wouldn't call him King Map, but he's like a general, no doubt.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, believe it or not, I am going to give season 3 of The Boys an Elliot Page Gozer. You know, we'll give it a Juno. That's what I'm gonna give it.
That's Ellum.
You know what's weird about the Elliot
Ellum Page?
Elliot Page. I forgot about this, but back when
Jordan
Elliot
Peterson
Page
making fun of fucking. Did you hear about that?
with Jordan
Where
Peterson
got kicked off Twitter for dead naming Elliot Page.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Elliot Page. Or is it Ellen? I'm not sure.
It's so weird because usually with this stuff, it's like they're like kind of escaping sort of how bad they looked as their natural thing. But I forgot about this, but after this whole Elliot Page, Jordan Peterson thing came up, I saw an article pop up that was like, it showed like a before and after picture. And I totally forgot that, what was Elliot's original name? Ellen Page?
Yeah.
She was hot, dude. That was an attractive woman.
She was hot when like Juno was coming out. Like Juno before she was pretty hot, but like,
well, the picture that they used,
she became like super like anemic and pale and like just like looked like her hair was always wet and dirty. Like she had
right.
She like purposely was not like trying to be attractive.
The picture in this before and after was probably like her like right after Juno. Yeah. Like she was a dime piece. Like I'm looking at this picture, I'm like, dude, how often does a 10 out of 10 woman go dude, she was hot in this picture. Like she was hot.
I understand, dude. You like girls that look like boys. Like
no, she did not look like a boy. That's the crazy thing is like there's a side by side that shows the one on the right is Elliot Page like showing off this 8-pack or whatever, and the one on the left is like literally her when like right when Juno
like,
came out.
Older, and I'll be like, I was gonna be drunk.
And I'm just like,
I'll be like, your dad had a crush on Elliot Page when he was younger.
No, not at all.
Like, for real? Be like, yeah, for real. For real.
Not at all. I forgot she was hot. Like when
okay.
when Elliot Page first transitioned, I'm like, who is that? Like, what? I didn't even really remember the person. I was like, whatever. I just ignored it.
She's a young Janine Garofalo, dude. Just like not that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, Janine Garofalo was hot when she was younger.
Very hot when
she was, dude. Yeah. So,
dude, I'm telling you, 35, dude. It's just it's a tragedy all around. It's a human tragedy, and I'm hoping science is figuring out a way.
It's a human
for
tragedy.
All of us.
We need science to step up.
We really do.
And on that note, broadcaster, we will close out.
If we're trying to get science to figure out bigger dicks and harder dicks, then we owe it to women to try to get that timeline fixed. You know, like, well, we need to descramble that timeline.
Well, I think what they need to do is do some like really unethical research on Asian women, because stay with me here. Stay with me. Asian women do hit a wall, just like most women around 35, like you're saying. But with Asian women, the wall is like 45 instead of 35. Like Asian women, like they skip about 10 years and then they hit that same wall. That's got to be some part of the puzzle, right? Whatever allows Asian women to sort of get an extra decade.
They're smaller.
Is that it? I don't know.
No,
maybe.
It's no doubt. It's just like taller people not living as long. The body like only has so much resource to put into like crafting a human being, right?
Yeah,
and it's
true.
Just like I think that's just where it comes from. The smaller you are, the longer lifespan, on average, your species has. I think when you're a human, because it doesn't relate to like insects, obviously, or birds, like reptiles and stuff. Well, some reptiles actually do live. Like turtles live. Some turtles can go up to like 500 years or something like that.
Right, and I think there's certain
some
whales
crazy shit
that live hundreds of years too, and whales are obviously huge. So
yeah, true, they are huge.
So yeah, life is weird. Life is weird.
It's a rarity for sure, though.
Anyway, I think the answer here is we need to abduct Kamiko and do experiments on her.
Or Red Rock opium. Avoid it all. Drink a couple Miller High Lifes. Maybe a Coors Genuine.
Coors Genuine.
I say Coors Genuine. An MGD.
You're like an alien trying to pretend like you're a human from like 1993. Like Miller, born in the Rockies.
I was my brain was freezing because I was like, "What's the Coors Banquet?" That's what it was. A Coors Banquet.
The banquet.
I was like, "God damn it, what is it?" I'm thinking about all the fucking really low tier, classy versions of themselves. Got Miller High Life, MGD, fucking
Watch
Coors Banquet, Molson's Ice.
Molson.
When's the last time you seen a Molson's, dude?
I have not seen a Molson since college, I feel like. I'll stand by Coors Light. I think Coors Light is it's like the most hydrating beer on the planet. Yeah. It's like you're drinking water, but in a good way.
It's like I'm starting to realize the benefits of light beer. Like it's really a really good invention.
Yes.